speak here, and it just came to me that I thought I would follow your advice and honor my father with this talk. That was good advice. It's really sweet. So I wanted to start actually by honoring my physical father on this earth. I remember when I was a kid learning how to read, that the first book, one of the very first books my father read to me, was called The Hobbit. Anyone read that book? You're like, no, I've seen the movie. So The Hobbit, and that's how I learned how to read and really gain a good vocabulary. And so he kind of instilled in me a kind of powerful intellect, to be able to figure things out really quickly. And so I'm grateful for my father for that. And then I would say that my second father is Swami Purna, and actually we lit a candle for him. This is his picture. Swami Purna is my spiritual teacher and guide, my guiding light. So there's a reason why I made a big deal to get flowers, or at least Steve got flowers very thankfully, for him, to honor him. He is a manifestation of divinity come down onto earth to assist people on their spiritual path. Very, very similar to the Buddha. In fact, his bloodline comes from the Buddha. Also very similar to Krishna or Ram or Jesus Christ, those beings who came down onto earth with no karma and simply here to reach out a helping hand to assist people in realizing their own soul. I realized maybe 15, 20, maybe 20 years ago that it was important to have a spiritual guide or a master helping me. But it's going to take, this path is going to take forever if I have to try to clear all my karma by myself. You know what I mean. You know what I mean? Day by day, working on our reactions and so on and so forth. And so when I met him in 2008, when he came, it was in New York City, he came through the doors of that bookstore, it was a retreat. I was in tears. The energy was so beautiful, so powerful. Nothing like I've ever experienced in this world. I visited a lot of saints, a lot of great masters, a lot of great beings, and this was something beyond this world. And the love was so great, I just couldn't contain myself. From then on, I followed him and learned from him. So, and then in 2012, he asked me in a personal darshan, which means a meeting with a holy being, to renounce my old life. At that time I was running a financial planning firm and very, very comfortable life. And he said, leave all of that and get a van, put a bed in the van and just set out on the road and share the spiritual energy with others. And I thought, really? Wow. I didn't know that was coming. I was surprised because I had no idea, nor did I even think myself as a spiritual teacher. I still don't. And so, but yet I followed him, his advice, and I went home and I had a little garage sale in my apartment, sold my car, sold my business, gave away all my nice business clothes, got a van. I named the van, by the way, Persistence. And then I just set off into the sunset. You ever seen that show Kung Fu with Pai Ching Kang? Yeah, you do. I'm certain you know. Right? Like that, walking into the sunset and just setting off and visiting town to town to town. And I'll tell you a little secret. Maybe this is not so much a secret. Do you know who my greatest supporters have been? Unity churches? Sometimes they don't like to be called churches. Unity centers? Yeah, those have been my greatest supporter. And willing kind of to take a risk. Like, who is this guy? What do we do with him? He comes into town, he's homeless. And he wants to talk about the mystical path. What is that? Because the idea of mystical means mystery. It's the great mystery. That's what I feel spirituality is all about. And Jesus Christ was a mystic. No one understood him, and no one can even understand him even unto today, because he's so far beyond normal human consciousness. So, and that's what I felt in Swami Purna when I met him. So I was very happy to continue and to do these travels. And I've been very much supported by the whole Unity community. So Swami Purna would be considered my second father. And then, do you know the sign of the cross? The name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that, about the true spiritual Father. In fact, I'll talk about the whole Trinity, this idea of the Trinity, because it's fascinating to me. One of my favorite subjects of all time. So when you say the Father and you touch your third eye means spiritual consciousness. It means the transcendental state, beyond this manifestation, the witnesser of all creation, that which you cannot comprehend or understand no matter how many books you read. I've read a lot of books, but I still can't understand spirit. So this transcendental place, this is the Father, this is the representation of the Father. And that would be in Christianity. By the way, in Hinduism, it would be called Shiva. Anyone know the god Shiva? Mahadev. Shiva is the transcendent. If you ever see pictures of Shiva, he's got a snake wrapped around his neck. He's an ascetic also, right? And he's got a slightly open third eye. Because when this third eye awakens, you realize, I'm not this body, I am not this mind. I am the transcendent being. I watch over all manifestation, I'm not in it. And even Jesus Christ said during the Last Supper to his disciples, because they were worried, he's talking about being broken like a piece of bread, and he said, don't worry about me. I've overcome the world. It matters more how you see me on the cross. Do you see it as a broken body and with fear and worry and concern? Or do you see it through the eyes of the transcendent? Meaning, there's no one in that body. The Christ is infinite consciousness. There's no one that died. So it's interesting, his viewpoint. Jesus, whereas all the disciples at the end ran away, they were afraid of death. I can't handle this is too much, right? He was the only one who truly saw through the entire illusion, and therefore was free of fear. That is the Father. That is the Father. Could you imagine a life free of fear? I'm talking of direct experience of that. The only possible way you can achieve a state of fearlessness is if you realize the Father, the transcendent, your true identity beyond this body that's sitting here. So, this is the Father aspect. So then really the next question is, how do you develop the Father consciousness? Don't you think that's kind of the next thing? How do you break through the fear and worry of human consciousness into the transcendent? And that is a deep and significant path. It's something that I've been sort of training with Swami Purna for now, I don't know how many years, since 2008. How long has that been? 10, 15? 16 years. And so one of the main ways that Swami Purna tries to impart this Father consciousness or this spiritual consciousness is through mantra. That's why we chanted the mantra beforehand. Was anyone able to feel the energy of that mantra? You were. Some people, yeah. Those people who have sensitivity to spiritual energy can feel it immediately. And it just fills the room. It sort of impregnates all of your cells. It's like a light signature. That's the mantra. These mantras are like atomic explosions within one's being. that clear away immense amounts of karma. Karma meaning feelings of separation from God. That's what karma is. So the mantras have, for me, been the key to unlock the Father consciousness. And so easy to do. Now, you may wonder, well, what does this mean? Like chanting a word and you get some sort of power? What is that? I mean, it sounds kind of crazy, actually. If I talk to a normal group of people, they might be walking out saying, no, he's way too woo, too new age for us. So you'd have to develop a taste for it. The mantra, each mantra has its own flavor. So now, I want to share with you the mystical path of the mantra, why it works. Are you ready? This is very exciting. Very exciting. So, there are certain gurus that descend upon the earth plane free of karma. I've spoken about them, right, at the beginning. When you receive a power word or a mantra from such a being, you have a piece of that guru now in your pocket. You have been initiated into that particular aspect of divinity, whatever mantra it is. And, there's so many different ones. And then, when you use that one, since you've been initiated, initiation just means the energy channels and chakras in your being are now open, they're activated. So now you recognize the truth of that mantra. Now when you chant it, you're invoking that power over and over and over. Malakuta Dishamaya, Malakuta Dishamaya. You could do that all day. That would be thrilling. You could make huge progress. One day, just clearing and clearing and clearing. You've got a piece of the guru in your pocket. You could be at the grocery store in line, chanting to the cashier, Malakuta Dishamaya. She'll say, really? What does that mean? You say, oh, that means the kingdom of God. Wow, that's cool. Can I chant it too? Go ahead. And then now you're spreading light. And a person who really has gone deep into the mantra, then when you share that, you can pass it on. And that's kind of the lineage of the guru, right? So, and Jesus had a lineage too, where he had disciples, and the disciples pass on their practices on and on and on. So it's this called line or lineage. So, I like to share these mantras just in case someone takes an interest and an excitement in it. They say, I can do mantra. It's very easy. So, and so then I might as well then share with you another form of the Father mantra. And this is in the Hindu tradition or the Vedic tradition. So I'm going to do a little test for you. Who remembers now the Father within the Hindu tradition or the Vedic tradition? I mentioned it. Shiva, thank you. Shiva, good listener. So Shiva. So a very, very powerful and popular mantra that people use to awake the Shiva consciousness or the Father consciousness, the third eye, is Om Namah Shivaya. You know that one. You know that one. Yeah. And some people will chant that mantra their whole life. Sit and meditate. They chant it. And then after chanting it for a little bit, you just sit in that energetic state and try to meditate on it. And if you're really open, it starts to penetrate into your mind and you feel this sort of like awakening or an illumination. And it uplifts your meditation into other dimensions. So then at some point, your body is sitting, but you're not in it. I experienced that. The first retreat that I went to with Swami Purna in 2008. I thought, oh, this is a nice retreat. I love the energy. I walked back to my room at the hotel, talking to my friends, just like this, normally. And suddenly I was not in my body. I was watching the whole scene outside of it. And everyone was talking, including this body. but I wasn't in it. And I said, what happened to Brian? And then, of course, you realize that there's no one in here. This is your space. That's the transcendent state. When you realize there's no one in there. As they say, there's no one home. You are the Father. You are living in another dimension. You identify with something else other than a body walking on this earth. Don't you find that fascinating? That's the Father conscious. That's Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya. Keep chanting that day by day. You know, I've got this. Do I have the mala? Okay. She was asking about the mala. This is the mala, 108 beads. So some people, they keep track of their mantras, chanting Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. You know how many beads it has? 108. Good job. I should be giving out gold stars. 108 beads. You don't count the guru bead, which is the one that has the tassel on it. And then you just sit after 108 times and just bask in the energy. And it's so delightful. You keep doing that, and the energy, this mystical power, rises more within you. It's like a cumulative thing, a cumulative energy. And could you imagine if you were doing it every day, year after year, you would become like a sun. People wonder why does he wear this sort of gold color? It's sun consciousness. And you literally feel an inner sun radiating from you. And your joy is through the roof. Nothing gets you down. That's the sun. And I often refer to it as the sunlit path. Every step you take is walking in sunlight. Eternal joy. Whether the body gets sick, or it dies, or whatever happens on earth, doesn't matter. You're living in sunlight. And one way you could call it is that is the perfume of the soul. That sunlight. And not only that, but it affects other people. You walk around and other people catch on and they feel the light. And they wonder, are you taking some special drug? Why are you so happy? I remember one guy, I stayed at his house, I think I was telling you this story. He said to me, I said, why are you not looking me in the eye when we crossed paths in the hallway while I was living at his house? He said, well, when you're living with a guy that's so happy all the time, it's kind of hard for some people. I said, oh, interesting. I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of that. But that's true. Sometimes it's kind of hard to handle that energy. So maybe you can't hang out with everyone because it may be too much. But you create your own world. Your world is unique. You notice everyone projects their world, their mind. Everything that you witness in this creation is a projection of your mind. You think this is good, this is bad, this is me, this is you, this is that. So many different sort of dualities. This is a duality-making machine. That's the story of Adam and Eve in the garden eating of the fruit that gives you the knowledge of good and evil. And of course then you lose your connection with God because you see good and bad. God sees no good and bad. It just is. That's the Father. The non-dual state. The ultimate of ultimate. You can't even call it a God. There is no word. Your mind cannot handle that. And that's why I wonder sometimes people don't even ask about Swami Purna. And I contemplated this. I said, the energy of such a being is so hard to handle because when you're there, pushes out all of your negativity, all your darkness, because you have to see it. You have to see your issues. If you don't, you're blind. Right? So the guru pushes all that out, and then you have to process it. And that's hard. How many people are really willing to see their darkness, to go through all their fears, to, in a sense, swim through the swamp of all the crocodiles. That's your mind. Try sitting in silence in a closet for an entire day. See how you do. Be just with your mind. It's called vipassana. That's the practice of vipassana. You watch thoughts come and go, and you don't cling on to them. You don't say, oh, that's me, oh, I'm sad, I'm bad, I'm this, I'm that. You just watch each thought come and go, and if you don't identify with them, then they get decharged. And that's how you clear thoughts. That's how you clear karma. You just keep watching them pass. Similar to the sky. Does the sky ever say, these clouds are mine? These clouds are me? The sky doesn't say that. It just watches them pass. Similarly, in spirit, all thoughts, all sensations, all experiences of life, all lifetimes, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, all pass, but I am not that. That is the Father. That's what we can celebrate on Father's Day. That's what we can invoke. For me, all day long, I'm invoking this energy. If you watch, even if I'm having a conversation with you, the energy is going through, and it's pushing me into these other dimensions. So I may be here, but in a way I'm not. No offense. But yeah, the body and maybe the body and mind are emotions here, but there's something else. And that, to me, is fascinating. That's the idea of what Jesus said. I have overcome the world. Such a powerful statement. And you can too. And I'll mention one more thing regarding this. And that's what I was mentioning to Stephen as well. The key trait I found, those people who really make huge progress on their path in terms of really getting on a roll, so to speak, it is because of their intensity or their sincerity. A person who genuinely wants to find God, to be with their beloved, won't give up. Each day, it is, in a way, kind of obsessed, a kind of obsession. And that's how I would kind of define a monk. You know, a monk has kind of renounced the world and is interested only in finding divinity. That's their only purpose. And then, of course, as the energy starts to arise in a person like that, they start to share it anyway. Because it can't be contained. That's what I would call the mercy of God. Mercy of God overflows, or you call it a bodhisattva, who keeps coming down onto earth to share spiritual energy with others, to uplift their brothers and sisters. It's a bodhisattva. So, my wish is, if possible, two things. That you could take some of the mantras with you. So who knows the two mantras that I introduced? You do. You do? Sam.
I have to look it up. I wrote it, of course, in Africa. Ma, Guta, Dish, Amaya.
Yes, wonderful. Wonderful, I love that. So if you have any questions about the mantras, you can talk to her. Great. Ma, Guta, Dish, Amaya, and then the last one? It's a Shiva mantra. Om Namah Shivaya. I bow to the Shiva energy which is everywhere. Yeah. When you bow, you say, I don't know what spirit is. It's a humility when you bow. I know not what spirit is. Instead, all I can do is bow. So those two, if you took those and chanted those, keep invoking that energy. It would do wonders. If you want to go deeper, please do join me after this service. I brought my harmonium especially for an hour and a half session. Actually, it starts at 1 p.m. And you're welcome to join me for an immersion. So again, thank you for having me, and namaste.
Namaste.